You've been told to be a good man, to be honest, patient, and kind. But what if that's the very reason the world walks over you? What if the path to power, to real respect, begins the moment you stop trying to be good? In a world that rewards manipulation and punishes virtue, men are raised on lies, lies that goodness brings success, that morality wins wars, and that patience builds empires. Yet history shows the opposite. The ruthless, the strategic, and the cunning carve their names into stone, while the gentle are forgotten. Today, you'll learn the dark principles that separate those who command from those who obey. Truths so uncomfortable that once you hear them, you'll never want to be good again. Number one, goodness is weakness in every era. Men are taught to equate goodness with strength. They are told that patience will bring reward, that honesty will win respect, and that kindness will invite loyalty. Yet, when these ideals meet the raw brutality of the real world, they collapse like fragile glass against stone. The good man, in his sincerity, becomes the easiest target. He exposes his intentions openly, believing transparency is virtue, and in doing so, he hands his enemies the very tools to destroy him. The world does not honor virtue, it exploits it. Look closely at the powerful, in politics, in business, in relationships, and you will see that the ones who rise are rarely those who cling to goodness. They are those who understand its value as an image, not as a practice. The man who strives to be genuinely good ties his own hands, while the man who only appears good keeps his free. He learns that kindness, when unguarded, invites manipulation. Mercy, when shown too freely, breeds defiance. And honesty, when spoken without caution, becomes a confession of weakness. Goodness is a weapon only when it is controlled. When it becomes your nature, it enslaves you. The man who is always forgiving creates a world where betrayal flourishes. The man who is always truthful invites deceit. The man who refuses to act ruthlessly when required will one day kneel before someone who does not share his restraint. Society praises virtue because it keeps men obedient. It convinces them that morality is power, while the ruthless quietly rewrite the rules. A good man believes that fairness will protect him. He believes that if he follows the rules, if he treats others justly, life will reward him with the same. But fairness exists only among equals. Those above him see his decency as a tool, a predictable weakness that can be used, bent and broken at will. His moral code becomes a cage built by his own hands, while others walk freely outside it. Observe how people react to a man who refuses to be purely good. He unsettles them. They call him cold, arrogant, or dangerous because he does not fit their pattern. They cannot read him, cannot predict him, and therefore cannot control him. This is the first taste of power. To live beyond the expectations that society imposes on the good. When you release yourself from the need to be good, you stop playing by rules that were never designed for your victory. The world is not a moral arena. It is a marketplace of interests. Every act of goodness must serve a purpose, either to build loyalty, to disguise power, or to buy time. The man who understands this uses virtue as a tool, not as a chain. He learns to appear kind when it is useful, honest when it is strategic, and forgiving when it strengthens his control. But beneath that mask lies calculation, not compassion. He has learned that goodness without strength is submission, and morality without strategy is suicide. Goodness, when unguarded, is not a virtue but a vulnerability. It promises safety while delivering dependence. It tells men to serve others before mastering themselves. The good man believes he is noble for suffering quietly, for sacrificing his will, for being endlessly patient. But his patience does not win him respect. It only convinces others that he can be delayed, deceived, or dismissed. The world does not pity him. It uses him. This is why those who crave power must unlearn the worship of goodness. They must see it for what it truly is, a story told by the weak to disarm the strong. To survive and to rise, a man must not seek to be good, but to be effective. Goodness should be a mask, not a mirror, a tool, not a truth. The man who understands this does not abandon morality entirely. He controls it, bends it, and wears it like armor when needed. Number two, power over morality. Power does not bow to morality. Morality bows to power. The world is not governed by the righteous, but by those who dare to command it. Men are taught that virtue should guide their actions, that moral integrity is the highest ideal. Yet those who cling to this belief soon discover that morality is a luxury reserved for the powerful, not the path to power itself. The powerless use morality as a shield to comfort themselves, while the strong understand that it is only another instrument of control, a story designed to keep ambitious men tame. Every empire, every throne, every dynasty that has ever existed was built not on moral purity but on decisive action. The leaders who shaped history were not saints, they were strategists. They understood that power demands difficult choices, choices that often defy the comfort of conscience. The moral man hesitates before acting. He fears being judged, fears being condemned, fears appearing cruel. The powerful man does not ask if an action is right or wrong. He asks only if it serves his purpose. Morality limits a man to what society approves of, while power liberates him to act on what necessity demands. When survival, control, or influence is at stake, moral hesitation becomes fatal. The world belongs to those who are willing to do what others will not. To lie when truth exposes them, to strike when mercy weakens them, to deceive when honesty endangers them. These are not sins in the pursuit of power, they are tools, no different from intelligence or courage. To rule, one must learn to treat morality as a weapon, not a weight. The moral man believes in ideals, the powerful man believes in outcomes. He does not seek to be good, he seeks to be effective. Where others debate ethics, he measures advantage. Where others tremble at the thought of being judged, he calculates how judgment can be turned into admiration. History forgets the moralists but remembers the conquerors. The world may curse them for their cruelty, but it never forgets their names. And even those who condemn them secretly obey the rules they established. Power demands the ability to bend morality without breaking oneself. It is not recklessness, but precision. The man who masters power learns when to appear moral and when to discard the illusion. He knows that men trust the image of virtue more than virtue itself. So he crafts that image carefully, wearing the face of righteousness while acting with cold intention beneath it. His morality becomes theater, a performance designed to maintain loyalty and obedience. But when the curtain falls, only results matter. To place morality above power is to live as a servant in a world ruled by masters. Every law, every code of ethics, every doctrine of virtue was written to maintain order among the masses, not to empower them. Morality is not truth, it is control. It tells men what they cannot do, while the powerful quietly decide what will be done. Those who follow moral rules blindly become pawns in a game they do not understand, moved by players who do not share their restraint. When a man embraces the principle of power over morality, he does not become cruel for its own sake. He becomes sovereign over his own actions. He is no longer bound by the opinions of others or the guilt imposed by weak men. He acts according to necessity, not sentiment. He learns that the highest form of morality is not goodness, but strength. The ability to impose one's will upon the world, rather than be crushed by it. Power is not evil. It is the natural law of existence. Morality is only the story the weak tell to protect themselves from it. Number 3, strategic selfishness. Every man is taught that selfishness is sin. That to think of oneself first is dishonorable. That to pursue personal gain is greedy. And that virtue lies in sacrifice. Yet, look closer at the world that repeats these lessons, and you will see the hypocrisy behind them. Those who preach selflessness are often the first to exploit it. They encourage men to give, to serve, to yield, while they quietly gather the fruits of those sacrifices. The man who refuses to question this illusion becomes a slave wrapped in moral virtue, proud of his obedience while others feed on his labor. Strategic selfishness is the antidote to this delusion. Not the reckless hunger of greed, but the disciplined pursuit of one's own power, interest, and preservation. The man who practices strategic selfishness understands that to serve others blindly is to weaken oneself. He gives, but with intention. He helps, but with calculation. He understands that every act of generosity must have a return, whether it be loyalty, influence, or protection. This is not cruelty, it is control. Those who give without purpose soon become exhausted, bitter, and forgotten, while those who give with strategy create networks of dependence. True power lies not in how much you sacrifice, but in how effectively you invest your sacrifices. A selfless man believes that being loved is enough to survive. A strategically selfish man knows that being needed is far more valuable. Love fades, need endures. When others depend on you, they cannot betray you without harming themselves. Strategic selfishness builds this invisible chain, not through open dominance, but through silent indispensability. The man who learns this art becomes the axis around which others turn, while maintaining the freedom to move in any direction he chooses. The world rewards those who protect their interests. Every empire, every corporation, every dynasty operates on the principle of calculated self-interest. Yet, when an individual man follows this same principle, he is labeled ruthless or cold. This is because society fears the man it cannot manipulate. The unselfish are predictable. They bend under emotional pressure and moral guilt. The strategically selfish man bends for no one. His decisions are not driven by approval, emotion, or obligation, but by outcome. He weighs every interaction like a merchant weighs gold, ensuring that what he gives never exceeds what he gains. Strategic selfishness does not mean isolation. It means alliances built on value, not sentiment. The powerful man surrounds himself with others who serve his goals, while allowing them to benefit in return. He creates loyalty not through affection, but through advantage. Those around him stay not because they are bound by love, but because they cannot afford to lose what his presence provides. This balance of mutual need is stronger than emotional loyalty, because it is rooted in reason, not weakness. The selfless man sacrifices his ambition for approval. The strategically selfish man sacrifices approval for ambition. He understands that being liked is a shallow form of power. It brings comfort, not control. True power is earned when others respect your will, even if they resent your methods. To achieve this, one must shed the childish desire to be universally loved and instead master the ability to be selectively useful. Every action, every word, every display of virtue must serve a purpose. If it does not strengthen your position, it is wasted. Strategic selfishness is not about greed, but about discipline. It demands control over impulse and emotion. The man who acts purely for himself destroys himself. The man who acts strategically for himself constructs an empire brick by brick. He withholds when others spend, speaks when silence is costly, and yields only when yielding grants future leverage. His generosity is measured, his loyalty conditional, his trust calculated. In every interaction, he asks, "What do I gain?" Not because he lacks empathy, but because he refuses to be used as a tool in another man's game. The difference between a selfish fool and a strategically selfish man is vision. One acts out of hunger, the other out of understanding. The fool hoards without purpose, the strategist invests with precision. He knows that by mastering self-interest, he masters life itself, because every relationship, every opportunity, and every victory begins with the same foundation: the will to protect and advance one's own power, above all else. Number 4. The art of masks power does not belong to those who are sincere, but to those who can wear sincerity as a disguise. Every man who seeks influence must learn the ancient art of deception, not the crude lies of the desperate, but the elegant performance of virtue. The world believes what it sees, not what it is. Those who can shape perception rule those who cannot. This is the essence of the mask, the ability to appear moral, humble, and trustworthy, while concealing the machinery of control beneath the surface. The man who shows his true nature exposes his weaknesses, his emotions, his fears, his desires. All become weapons in the hands of others. Honesty may feel pure, but it invites danger. People do not reward truth, they exploit it. To reveal your intentions is to surrender your advantage. The wise man learns to separate his inner self from his outer image, keeping his thoughts locked behind a calm expression. His words are measured, his tone deliberate, his actions choreographed to project exactly what others wish to see. He is never fully known, because to be fully known is to be vulnerable. Society praises authenticity because it is easy to control. The authentic man speaks without caution, acts without calculation, and reveals himself entirely. He may win sympathy, but he will never command fear. The mask, on the other hand, transforms sympathy into power. When people believe you are honest, they stop questioning your motives. When they see you as kind, they let their guard down. When they view you as loyal, they offer you their secrets. The mask does not merely hide, it seduces. The art of masks is the art of illusion. To master it, one must understand that image is more potent than truth. The man who appears moral has more influence than the man who is moral. The man who appears humble gains trust faster than the one who truly is. The world does not reward genuine character, it rewards convincing performance. History remembers the conquerors who wore the robes of saints while spilling the blood of rivals. They understood that people do not follow the strong, they follow the familiar. The mask allows strength to hide within comfort, cruelty within kindness, domination within diplomacy. Wearing a mask is not hypocrisy, it is strategy. It allows a man to walk through hostile worlds without drawing the sword too early. Every situation demands a different face, gentleness to disarm, confidence to command, humility to deceive. Those who refuse to adapt cling to one identity and are easily broken. The man of masks flows like water, formless, elusive, impossible to trap. His enemies see what he wants them to see, and by the time they realize their error, he has already moved beyond their reach. The power of the mask lies in control, not only of others but of oneself. To maintain the illusion, a man must master his emotions. Anger, pride, fear, and desire must all be subdued beneath the stillness of his chosen image. The undisciplined reveal themselves through impulse. The disciplined conceal themselves through composure. Every expression, every silence, every word becomes a calculated gesture. The mask becomes a second skin, a shield that both hides and protects the will beneath it. Those who reject masks often claim moral superiority, but what they call honesty is usually weakness in disguise. The world is not gentle with exposed souls. It crushes them, mocks them, and discards them. The man who refuses to wear a mask demands fairness from a world that does not possess it. The man who embraces the mask accepts reality as it is, cold, competitive, and indifferent to virtue. He learns that truth is not owed to anyone, that sincerity is not a right others deserve, but a privilege he grants only when it serves him. The mask is not deceit, it is survival. It is the weapon that allows a man to move among predators without becoming prey. To wear it well is to command perception itself, to manipulate belief, and to wield the unseen power that governs every human interaction. The art of masks is not about losing yourself. It is about mastering the version of yourself that the world is allowed to see. Number 5, dominion through detachment. Emotion is the chain that binds men to weakness. It blinds judgment, clouds perception, and enslaves the will. Those who cannot master their emotions become servants to them, tossed about by passion, fear, and desire like ships lost in storm. To rule oneself, and by extension others, a man must learn the discipline of detachment. Dominion begins where emotion ends. The man who can remain calm while others panic, cold while others burn, and silent while others shout, holds a power that no army or wealth can match. Detachment is not indifference, it is control. It does not mean feeling nothing, but rather choosing when and how to feel. The undisciplined man reacts instantly. He loves too quickly, hates too openly, and fears too deeply. Every flicker of emotion exposes his weaknesses, and those who understand this can command him without effort. They need only provoke his anger, flatter his ego, or threaten his pride, and he becomes their instrument. The detached man, however, is untouchable. His emotions obey him, not the other way around. He can appear calm in defeat, composed in conflict, and gracious in triumph, because his power does not come from the situation. It comes from within. To achieve detachment, one must first understand the nature of human behavior. People are predictable because they are emotional. They betray when they are afraid, submit when they are flattered, and attack when they feel slighted. The man who observes these patterns without being drawn into them becomes the master of every interaction. He no longer reacts, he directs. His calmness unsettles others because it cannot be influenced or manipulated. They mistake it for arrogance, but it is simply strength. The stillness of a man who has outgrown the need to prove anything. Detachment allows a man to act strategically rather than impulsively. In moments of conflict, emotion drives most men towards self-destruction. Anger leads them to reveal secrets, pride forces them into unnecessary battles, and fear convinces them to surrender too soon. The detached man does none of these things. He observes first, acts later, and always from a place of clarity. His decisions are not born from rage or excitement, but from calculation. He does not fight every battle. only the ones that matter. He knows that patience is a form of warfare, and that silence often strikes harder than words. Power belongs to the man who can stand apart from his own emotions, not because he is cold, but because he understands that emotions are temporary while consequences are permanent. Detachment frees him from guilt, envy, and the desperate need for validation that rules weaker men. He does not seek revenge for every slight, nor praise for every victory. His satisfaction lies in control itself, the quiet dominance that comes from knowing he cannot be swayed by flattery, provoked by insult, or enslaved by desire. The detached man is not heartless. He simply refuses to let his heart dictate his fate. He may love, but never at the expense of his judgment. He may trust, but only after testing loyalty. He may show compassion, but never when it weakens his position. Every emotion he allows himself to feel must serve a purpose. Anything that does not serve is discarded. This is how he maintains balance in chaos, by ensuring that his emotions serve him, not rule him. Detachment is the armor of kings, philosophers, and conquerors alike. It is what allows a man to see clearly when others are blinded by passion. It grants him the ability to read people without being consumed by them, to negotiate without fear, and to endure betrayal without breaking. In detachment, there is freedom from the illusions that enslave ordinary men. The need to be loved, the urge to be understood, the fear of being alone. Such things no longer control him because his worth no longer depends on anyone else's perception. The man who achieves this level of mastery no longer seeks power. He becomes it in a world built on illusion. Power belongs to those who see through it. The men who rise are not the ones who seek approval, but those who shape destiny with cold precision and silent will. You have now seen the darker truth, the wisdom that few dare to accept. If you're ready to break free from weakness, to think, act, and rule like the unseen masters of history, then stay close. More untold lessons await. Subscribe now, and step further into the world, where strength replaces virtue and strategy becomes your greatest weapon.